Hello, and welcome back to Dating Woes podcast. This is your host, Nyambia Freely Ingram. This episode is going to be episode number 11. This episode is a pretty interesting one for me. Reason being is I have a love-hate relationship with Vegas. And I love the slogan, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But in actuality, it doesn't. Anything can transpire in Vegas can definitely follow you from home. So without further ado, I'm going to definitely get into my Vegas stories. This one is definitely another slash episode slash two-parter because it's two different people I'm involved in the story. So the first one I want to tell is pretty brief. This one's not going to last too long, but the second one might end up in a second part. We'll see what happens. Okay, so the first one was, I would say this is probably, I think it was 2014. I'm thinking, I can't remember the year. It might be 2012. But I've gone to Vegas several times with my girls. We used to do girl trips like every year. We'll go somewhere new. We've been also busy that we haven't been able to do it in the last 2 years. But we still, of course, I still cherish all the memories that we have and all the girl trips that we went on. It was, we had such an amazing time going all over this country and a couple countries and other stuff too. So that's another story. But this one particular time, I remember going to Vegas with my girls. We were having such a great time. That year I actually rocked my afro and I had dyed my hair like this like blonde kind of color. So, I was feeling myself. I was honey blonde. I was out there looking cute in my outfits and stuff and everything. And I remember, I've always been a spontaneous person. So I remember being on Twitter while we were in a hotel room trying to figure out what we were about to do. And this famous DJ was at the Palms Hotel. And he was talking about like, I'm partying tonight. Where's everybody at? And, I responded, was like, hey, me and my girls are in LA too. Like, no, LA, so we in Vegas too. What's up? And he was like, what's good? Like, you want to come out? He's like, I'll tell them to give you some tickets. Next thing you know, the concierge hit me up and he was like, hey, yo, they said that you want to come over to the Palms? Here you go. Come on, VIP treatment. And we was like, what? So we ended up in VIP at the Palms. I think it was the Moonlight Club. I can't remember which one. No, it wasn't Moonlight. It was the one at the top. I can't remember the name of it right now. I think it was Playboy. I think that's the one that we were ended up at. I can't remember because they changed so many different names. But we ended up at the top of the building in one of their clubs. And we ended up in VIP. So we had our table, bottle service, everything. It was dope. Got a chance to kick it. We had a great time. Favorite DJ was there we was kicking it hardcore. And it is so crazy because we just so happened to be in Vegas the same time as the AVN Awards. And if anybody knows what AVN Awards is, this where all the porn people are. So it was crazy to be in Vegas with all the porn stars. That was a whole nother level too, and a whole nother story about that anyway. But I digress. So I can get back to the story. So this one particular night, I remember partying with my friends. We were having such a great time. It was a couple NFL players in there. It was like really dope to be in like a VIP area in Vegas. So this one guy came up and he approached me. He was very attractive. He had nice dreads, like dark skin, beautiful chocolate. Man came up to me and he was really tall. And I was just like, this man fine. Like, ooh. My friends was like, dang, and I was just like, hey, what's up? So he came up and started dancing with me and everything. We vibed really well. And, drinks are pouring, bottles are pouring. We were all having a great time and stuff. So I got his number and found out that he actually lived in Vegas and he worked for Southwest. And I was like, oh, dope. Southwest, give me the hookup or something. That's what I was thinking. So we ended up talking a couple times. We hung out a couple more nights while we were there because we ended up staying in Vegas for like a whole week. So while we were there, we had a great time, and he was talking about how, like, he's been looking for the right person. He's so stuck out there. He wants to like move. He's thinking about going to LA and stuff. And I was telling him about my dreams of moving to LA too, because at the time wasn't living in LA. I think I was living in Tampa. I think at the time, can't remember. I think I was in Tampa at the time. So I was telling him about my dreams of moving to LA too. We vibe really well and everything. I remember. I remember we had such a great time and everything. And then he was like, yeah, let's exchange information. I would love to come meet you, like, come kick it with you, hang out with you or something later on. I could come to Tampa. We fly to Tampa all the time on Southwest. And I was like, hey, just let me know. That's good. Let's do this. So, we had like our brief little relationship, I guess you could call it, in Vegas or whatever. So, toward the end of the trip, he was like saying all the right things, and I'm just like, great, this is awesome. Might give me a boyfriend out of this situation. Who knows? So, and he was like, man, I remember one time we got like so intoxicated. It was so crazy. He was like, let's go get married in the chapel. And I'm just like, no, I'm good. I don't want to get married. It would have been fun and all to like have one of those Vegas weddings, because I thought about it, like having like a hangover type situation. But then I was like, nah, I shouldn't do this. So glad I stuck to my guns and didn't like do it or whatever. So I would say like it was toward the end of our trip. And I think it was like the last day, I happened to go on Facebook and I added him as a friend on Facebook, and he was like, he was going to add me back. And this was still like, Facebook was like, everybody, a lot of people were on there and stuff still. But, you can still, it wasn't as tied down now with profiles, so you can see like everything. So I go to his profile and I click on some pictures and I see he was attached to some wedding photos that was like the month before. Now, mind you, this is like August, and these wedding photos were from July. So I'm just like, I wonder who's in these photos. So then I click on the person that had tagged him in the photos, and it was a woman. And sure enough, her main photo was him in a wedding tux and her in a wedding dress, and they were like smiling. And I was like, what? So I keep, further investigation. I keep going through pictures, and I see like, oh crap, this man just got married. And the crazy kicker is he got married in Jamaica, and his wife worked for Southwest too. And I'm just like, are you serious right now? I was like, this man tried to marry me and he already married. I was like, how does that work? So apparently his wife was a flight attendant, and she, of course, wasn't in town that week. She was flying. So of course he could do whatever he wants to. And I met his friends. We were hanging out together with his friends, kicking it. It was like a real type of, it was so weird, how they were acting and how he was acting. And I was like, well, you must do this all the time or something, especially catch women in Vegas where that's supposed to be your like thing or whatever. But the crazy part about it was, after I like confronted him and everything, he was just like, oh no, like she don't know or whatever, but I do what I want to do and she can't stop me. And I'm just like, that's so crazy how he had that kind of attitude. And I'm just like, wow. So I went and added his wife as a friend on Facebook, and I changed my profile to the pictures that me and him have taken, because I'm always team woman, because anytime a dude does a woman wrong, like I'm going to be an advocate to not like try to bother him too much, but I definitely want to let them know like, hey, like this is going on, and you may want to check your dude or something. So of course I changed my picture, and next thing you know, she didn't reach out, but he stopped talking to me, of course. So I'm glad I got out of that situation. But that was like one of my Vegas stories. That I almost got married to a married dude in Vegas on one intoxicated night, and I almost got in a relationship with a married dude, which is crazy. But yeah, that's one Vegas story. My second Vegas story is one that I hold dear to my heart, in a sense, because I've known this person forever. And we've gone to Vegas actually 3 times, I think, together. I think it's 3 times. I can't remember. We've gone to Vegas a lot. But this person I've known, oh my gosh, I've known him since 8th grade. A few people know this story, but I know since 8th grade. He was living out in LA at one point in time, and he was always, a really cool person. Known him for over 20 years. I always had like a crush on him. We had a brief little make-out session when we were in 8th grade. It was really cool. And he was supposed to be my prom date, but he went to a different high school. And his prom ended up being the same night as my prom, which I was so pissed about, because he was going to be my prom date for my 12th grade year. So I ended up going with a different guy on my 12th grade year. But I really wanted to go with him because, like I said, like we always had a great connection. We always could talk for hours. He was always like a really cool guy, and his intellect is on point. So of course, I'm more attracted to intellect than anything. And then he's cute, so that makes it even better. So, but yeah, I'm getting off topic. So let me get back. So Vegas story. The first one would be, I remember my friends and I went to Vegas. Now that year, I had straight hair. My hair was down my back. It was cute. And I was feeling myself, and I had lost a little weight. So I was in my little outfits, feeling myself and everything. And I remember that particular year, we went to LA too. So we rented a car while we were in Vegas, and we drove to the Hoover Dam, and we drove to LA. So we made sure we did more than just Vegas that trip. So when I went to LA, I definitely reached out to my friend because I hadn't seen him in forever. And I knew he was out in LA, and I was like, "Hey, what you doing?" And so he came to the hotel that we were staying at, because we were at the Andaz Hotel in West Hollywood. I think it's Andaz, but I think it's Andaz Hotel in West Hollywood. It's a nice hotel. They shake you in with wine. They got a rooftop pool that overlooks like Hollywood. It's really dope. So we ended up staying there. And he came and kicked it with me in the hotel bar. We had a great time, like conversing, reminiscing about life and stuff. And I was telling him that we were in Vegas, and he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So we ended up kicking it at some 90s party. I got a chance to meet like a whole bunch of like 90s DJs and stuff. It was a really dope experience and everything. So fast forward to when we get to Vegas, we ended up having like such a great time. In actuality, I'm going to make this a 2-parter. So I'm going to save like the rest of this episode for next time. So I will definitely tell you more about my What Happens in Vegas story. But definitely tune to my website. You can go to www.datingwoes.com. You also can follow me on Instagram at Dating Woes Podcast. You can hit me up on Twitter at dating_woes. Or you can definitely visit my website, www.naomibetheGreat.com. I'm so glad that you guys have been so supportive. This has been definitely a surreal experience to take all of these scripts and stuff that I've written about real, true date stories and bring it to this podcast life. I'm really super excited, and I've gotten nothing but great feedback from everyone, and I'm definitely appreciative to everybody who's been listening. But thank you so much, and I can't wait to tell you more about my What Happens in Vegas Part 2 when I get to the rest of my story, because it's very interesting. But thank you all, and y'all have a great day. Peace.